Hey guys, a very good morning to everyone. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. So I welcome everyone to Sri Ram's IAS, a channel partner of An Academy. Now guys, this video is a special session dedicated to the mains this year, the upcoming mains of 2023. This session is dedicated to cover all important current affairs for the upcoming mains. Our target is to give you some enriching content so that you can balance your answer writing along with the current affair provided at this session. So this session happens at every Saturday and Sunday. On Saturdays, I will take the class from 10 to 12:30. That is a 2.5 hour of class. And on Sunday, Sanat sir will come and he will take a class. The timings will remain same. Very good morning, Sujay. Welcome, guys. So for all of you who are watching this video, I request you to please like this video and share among your friends. So guys, what all topics that I take in the Saturday's class? I take environment and ecology, international relations, and then in the month of August I will come up with the polity. Sanat sir will take economy, science and tech, art and culture, and other important miscellaneous portions. Okay, so this is the bifurcation of the subject. In the last month, that is in the month of June, I have covered the complete international relations from the perspective of current affairs for the upcoming mains. So the link for the video is given in the description. Okay, you can also go in the playlist section and you can search the videos there. All international relation is covered last month. Right now what we are doing environment and ecology, and in the last class I was discussing about renewable energy. Okay, in the last class, a very quick revision that I have just started the clean energy and energy conservation as topic for the mains exam. And we all know that this is a very important area because UPSC loves to ask questions from this. Like if you see, I have added some previous year questions for you. Okay, you can take a screenshot. I am giving you 20 seconds of time that these are the questions that has already been asked by UPSC, and this is related to the energy conservation and the types of energy. Okay, and all the international conferences related to energy. So this is the PYQ. By the way, environment and ecology is majorly part of your GS3. Okay, ये आपके GS3 का part है. So in the last class, I have introduced this topic to you, that why clean energy is important, why energy conservation is important, then how India is transforming its energy from the non-renewable sources of energy to renewable sources like solar, wind, hydro, geothermal. We are switching to these type of energy. Okay, the main aim is to mitigate the climate change, to reduce the pollution. Like a very recent data, out of the top 10 cities, top 10 most polluted cities in the world, Delhi, among the Indian cities, Delhi is the highest polluted city. And among the top 10 cities in the world, we have 3 cities which are the most polluted cities in the world. So In order to tackle the pollution, in order to mitigate climate change, to enhance our energy security, then to have or to prospect sustainable future for our generation, we need clean energy. Okay, so this we have discussed in the last class. Now guys, this is very important. This is the present overall capacity of renewable energy for India. So the total capacity right now is 178.79 gigawatts, out of which the maximum contribution is from solar energy. And you will be surprised to know that this is our target. As a part of our INDC, we want to attain 40% of our overall electricity from the renewable energy by 2030. And we aim to target 450 gigawatts of energy, which is coming from the renewable energy. Right now we are at 178. So let's see, in the remaining 7 years, are we able to achieve this target? To attain 450 gigawatts of renewable energy target. Okay, this is one of our INDC. So we have talked on all these lines in the last week's class. I have just introduced this in the last class. Okay, from today, in today's session, I will be talking on what is the importance of renewable energy, why renewable energy is important for us. Now, first of all, renewable energy is sustainable. That means the sources of renewable energy are clean, they are inexhaustible. That means there is no tension that we will exhaust this resource today and it won't be available in the future. So we have abundant sunlight, we have abundant wind potential, we have abundant geothermal portions of energy, so we can utilize these energy, and this is why it is sustainable. Then obviously it will help us to mitigate the climate change and global warming. Like guys, not just in India, in fact all of the countries all over the world, they are dependent on the thermal power plants to extract their energy. Thermal power plants or coal based power plants to extract energy. We are dependent on this energy. Even 200 years after industrial revolution, we are still dependent on it majoritarily. So switching to renewable energy will help us to mitigate climate change, will help us to mitigate global warming, because all these renewable energy, they do not emit any greenhouse gas. And hence right now it is the most cleanest option available with us. Most cleanest option. Okay. However, there are some challenges as well. ऐसा नहीं है that all of your renewable energy is clean. That means there is no problem in that. We'll come to the problems as well. But let us first discuss what are the other importance. Inexhaustible. This I have already explained, that the ongoing renewable energy is inexhaustible. That means you cannot, there is abundant supply of these energy, like abundant sunlight we are getting, especially tropical countries. This is the advantage of tropical countries. You will find sunlight available almost 365 days a year. Almost 365 days sunlight is available. Wind is also available. At least in some time of the day, the wind is blowing, at least in some strategic locations like the coastal areas. In coastal areas, you will find wind quite easily available throughout the day, like the land breeze and sea breeze concept you must have done in your geography, right? So this is why renewable energy is important, because this source is inexhaustible. Then reducing energy dependence. So renewable energy will help us to depend on decrease our dependence on the fossil fuels. So it will not only help us to save our money, that means there is no need to import more fossil fuels from the outside country. Like in India, when we say we have coal, we have a good supply of coal in India, but the quality of coal, the calorific value of coal which is available in India is not that high calorific value. Like if you have done your types of coal, anthracite, bituminous, lignite, so we have more of a bituminous and lignite type of coal available in India. So we need to, at times we need to import coal from outside. So it will reduce our dependence on fossil fuel. Like for transportation sector, we are highly dependent on the crude oil, and we spend a good amount of our foreign reserves in importing crude oil for our transportation sector, for our other industrial sector. All right, so this is the importance. Then another important area for renewable energy is that it will help us in creating more employment opportunities. Like just in the solar segment, there is a huge potential of job creation, from the technicians to the installers to the service guy, and obviously all those companies which will be manufacturing all these components of renewable energy, they will be hiring more and more people. So this is a new set of industry that is coming up. Then other than that, it will give us a market assurance. So from the economic point of view, renewable sources provide the market and revenue insurance. That means no other resource can provide that. That means you can save money in investing in renewable energies. And then when you are using renewable energy, you have uninterrupted power supply. Like the solar energy, you have uninterrupted power supply. That means there is no power cuts that you will face in future. Like even today, our urban areas, they are still lacking those power availability. There are good amount of power cuts that happens every time in rural areas. So this is another importance for renewable energy. But guys, there are some challenges associated with renewable energy as well. Although we are building and investing in more research and development, but there are a good number of challenges also which are available, which is associated with renewable energy. Like in last month current affairs, I have covered this. There was an article, other than what it is mentioned here, there was an article on photovoltaic waste. For example, like solar energy is now easily, you can see easily installed solar panels on the rooftops. In rural areas, it is very common now. Even in urban areas, people are switching to the solar plants. Now guys, once a solar panel stops working, let's say it has reached its life. Now what will happen to that solar panel? That solar panel, generally what you will do to that solar panel, you will sell that panel to the scrap dealer, the local scrap dealer, and the local scrap dealer will disassemble it, and then they will throw it just like that. So it has a chance of releasing of many heavy metals as a part of the photovoltaic waste. So this is something, upcoming challenge that we are facing with renewable energy. And then, like for example, in the car sector, in the transportation sector, although we are switching to the electric vehicles, but right now the electric vehicle, the cost, because it is a new technology as of now, the cost of electric vehicle is too high. And then obviously the maintenance of such vehicles, if in the longer run, if you calculate, like if you calculate maintaining a car for 10 years, whether it is a petrol car, so how much petrol you spend, how much money you spend on repairs and maintenance and all these things, you calculate all your expenditure on a car. Do you know that you calculate a regular petrol car and you calculate the expense of a regular solar car? Right now, the cost of solar car is more than that of a regular petrol car in a 10-year span. So this is another issue. Okay, so there are many such issues that you can gather from different researches, and then you can use them as your answers. So high capital cost. One important fact is that renewable energy has a high initial capital cost, because all these renewable energy right now, guys, are new technology. So whenever a technology is new, the upcoming costs are a little high. So right now, if you want to install a solar panel, there is a huge cost. Then unreliable and uninterrupted. So this is something like a renewable energy system, they rely on natural sources. Therefore, the electricity generation is highly unpredictable as per the weather. Like in the wind areas, let's say due to some reason the wind stops blowing. Now in this case, your installation there is a little waste. So these type of problems are also associated with your renewable energy. Then integration with the main grid. So like this is another problem. So for example, you are generating the wind energy in a coastal area. So how you are generating and storing the electricity in a generator, let's say. So how you gonna transport that electricity to different parts? This is the another challenge that arises in renewable energy. The next challenge is the location. So generally, as of now, renewable energy occupies a large area, and land availability in India, it is already a problem for a country like India. The availability of free land. So are you getting this? So location. So we have to strategize our location, and we have to install all our renewable energy in some strategic location so that we can get the maximum efficiency out of it. Okay, so this is one important issue. Then drawbacks of wind technology, like the turbine can often cause high noise pollution. So the rotating turbines, they cause a very high noise pollution, and then it is also have a negative impact on the local animals and birds. Like these rotating winds can easily kill birds. It is fatal for them. So this is another issue. Then what are the consequences of hydro plants? So the dam destroys habitat, it hampers the aquatic ecosystem, it hinders the migration, etc. Then agricultural sector. So the power is consumed in agriculture sector. The challenge is to provide the sufficient power and energy to every household, to the agricultural sector as well. So this is another issue. How you will transport that, you will transport that electricity to the agricultural sector. Then what is the current scenario of India's investment in clean energy or in renewable energy? Now, guys, I will take up each type of energy, like we will talk on solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, then the upcoming energies like biofuel and hydrogen gas, etc. We'll talk on these lines as well. Okay, we will see each type of energy, their merits and demerits in today's class. Majorly, I am focusing that area. Today's class is highly dominated by the energy. So India's investment in clean energy. So right now, India has committed to invest around $4.3 billion in green technology to derive economic and job growth. This is our current investment. Then we are also focusing on installing solar plants in places like Ladakh. Then we are also switching to a newest form of green energy, which is the green hydrogen. Okay, the green hydrogen. Now this is what even Nitin Gadkari was saying in last 2 weeks before, there was an interview that he was saying that very soon by 2030 the government is planning to replace the cars and introduce a new type of a car, that is a hydrogen car. And you have seen Nitin Gadkari ji, the transport minister of India, he travels to parliament in a green hydrogen car. So this will be a new future that can further, supplement your electric vehicles as well. Then finance minister has highlighted the implementation of various programs, policies such as green fuel, energy farming, mobility, building and equipments. Then all such green growth efforts, they aim to reduce the carbon intensity of the economy. So the ultimate aim is to reduce the carbon intensity. Then now India's commitment to green investment follows a similar move by the countries like US, Japan. Now this is something that every country is applying. Every country is right now in the transition phase from switching from non-renewable sources of energy to the renewable energy. And every country, like we all know, that India has also set up a net zero target. So we have a target of net zero by 2070. China has this target by 2060. European Union and US has this target by 2050. So they will be running as net zero. So can you guys tell me what do you mean by net zero? Net zero का मतलब क्या होता है? Can anyone tell me in the comment box? Does this net zero means zero emission? Answer to this is no, guys. Net zero doesn't mean zero emission. Net zero basically means that whatever emissions that you are doing, either you have made certain technologies that can absorb that emission, or your carbon sink is more than what your carbon emissions are. So the overall net remains negative. This is what your net zero means, and India is planning to achieve net zero. India achieve कर लेगा ये net zero 2070 तक, and with the pace that we are right now running, it is a possibility कि और जल्दी भी हो जाए, ठीक है, और हो सकता है कि जरूरत पड़ जाए हमें इसको और जल्दी करने की, because of the climate disasters that are happening. Like India and northern India में तो खूब बारिश हो रही है, but do you know this fact? 4th July 2023, that means this year, just 11 days from now, 4th July 2023 has been recorded as the hottest year ever in the humanity. इससे ज्यादा गर्म दिन कभी नहीं रिकॉर्ड किया गया. 4th of July 2023. I hope you must have read this in news. और जो हम क्लाइमेट टारगेट्स प्लान कर रहे थे, that we will achieve those climate targets by 2050, it is expected that 2030 तक ही वो सारे क्लाइमेट टारगेट्स पहुंचने लगेंगे. Like the earth temperature will cross 1.5 degrees Celsius average temperature by 2030 only. So the condition is at present very bad. So now guys, we will see one by one all different types of renewable energy. इन सारे टाइप ऑफ एनर्जी से कोई ना कोई क्वेश्चन आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो आपके GS3 मेंस में. So first we will see solar energy. What is solar energy? First we'll see what is solar energy. Then what is the current status of solar energy in India? Then we will see what are the advantages, and then along with this we will also see the disadvantages. Okay, so let's see solar energy one by one. So solar energy, basically in the broader sense, solar energy is the energy that drives everything on planet Earth. This is the energy that transferred from one form to another, and this drives almost everything. Biotic factors, abiotic factors, everything is dependent on the solar energy. So the radiation we receive from the sun can be utilized in the form of electricity, can be utilized in the form of thermal energy by using various different technologies such as photovoltaic panels, the solar heaters, etc. Like guys, in the introduction of renewable energy, when I was explaining the importance of renewable energy, हमने एक प्रॉब्लम, एक इशू डिस्कस करा था फोटोवोल्टिक वेस्ट. But there are some new researches, the use of nanotechnology, the graphene tubes in solar panels. So all these tests are right now going on. Photo panels में nano chips add कर दी जाएंगी. इससे क्या advantage होगा? Your solar panels will become smaller and more efficient. These are some kinds of trials which are right now ongoing. All right. So we all know that India has a very important location, or we can say that our location is blessed by abundance of solar availability. Yes or no? Because we lie in the tropics, more than 2/3 of our area gets more than 300 days of light, which is equivalent to 2300 to 3000 hours of sunshine. That has a potential to generate 5000 trillion kilowatt of energy. ये ओवरऑल पोटेंशियल है इंडिया से सोलर एनर्जी डेवलप करने का. व्हाट इज द प्रेजेंट सिनेरियो? दिस इज अ इंपॉर्टेंट डेटा गाइस. फरवरी का डेटा है ये. इंडियाज INDC's commitments to generate 100 gigawatt of solar energy by 2022. इंडिया ने ये टारगेट लिया था that we will attain 100 gigawatt of energy from solar energy from 2022. However, जो present scenario है, what is the present status of solar energy that we have? It is 66.7 gigawatt. So although we are lacking behind our target, but if you see, India is the third largest solar energy country in the world. इंडिया के पास थर्ड लार्जेस्ट सोलर एनर्जी है in terms of installed capacity in the world. Then rooftop solar power plants accounts for 2.1 gigawatt, which is almost 70%, out of which 70% is industrial and commercial. Now this is a rule, especially in cities like Delhi. Whenever there is a new project that is coming up, new buildings which are coming up, whether it is government buildings, government offices, it is mandatory to install a solar panel, a solar installation at the rooftop. It is now mandatory for the commercial sector. Now this can be applied in domestic sectors as well, and this can be applied across the cities as well. So we can use our rooftop as a solar panel, and we can generate the electricity of our own. And this is happening. There are many households, like the government also gives you subsidy for installing solar panels, and then you can even sell the surplus energy to the government. You know this, that this is also the advantage of the solar energy that we can derive right now. However, India's total solar waste is estimated to be around 1.8 million by 2050, which also need to be tackled. We should have some policies, a proper solar waste management plans, so that we can tackle the problem of solar waste. Along with the installation, we can manage solar waste as well. Then guys, what is the importance of solar energy? What are the advantages basically? First of all, access to electricity. Like solar installation is very easy. You can carry those panels in the remotest corner of our country. दूर दराज के गांव में लेके चले जाओ, वहां पर छत पर लगा दो, और you have uninterrupted solar supply. This is the first importance. Then environmental preservation. You can conserve your environment because solar energy is pollution free. There is no emission of greenhouse gases. There is no need to hamper the natural resources, and you can live in a healthier environment. This is another importance. Then also it will help us to secure energy. It is very important for the energy security of India. Like we all know, the fossil fuels are dying. The fossil fuel reserves are getting exhausted at a very high rate, and many reports says that the petrol and diesel with the present consumption will be wiped off by 2050. 2050 तक पेट्रोल डीजल सब खत्म हो चुका होगा. Okay, so all these fossil fuels, their resources are depleting at a very fast rate. So India is such a country with such a high population numbers. How we gonna ensure proper electricity to this number? Solar energy is the best alternative. Then it will help us in economic development. So it will, first of all, it will secure energy. Along with energy, it will give ample employment opportunities. It can help our industrial growth. It can help our agricultural growth. Like for example, I hope you know this, that many industries in the industrial areas, होता है ना, हर शहर में एक industrial area setup होता है. So ये सारे industrial areas at times they face high power cuts. बहुत ज़्यादा power cuts इनको face करने पड़ते हैं. And because of such high power cuts, their production got impacts. It straight away impact their production as well as their growth. And when all such industrial areas are facing such impacts, ultimately it is detrimental to the economic development of the country. So are you getting this? Then cost and supply. So India also needs self-sufficiency and at a minimal cost in power generation. So like how much money you spend in per unit production of the electricity, how much you spend in coal, how much you spend in solar. So when it comes to solar, the per unit expenditure that you do in solar energy is very less than in comparison to the per unit expenditure for the coal energy. So this is the second or the next point, which makes solar energy very important. Then yes, obviously it is important for our social development. Like you know, all these power cuts, they hamper our social progress. Like for example, you are studying for UPSC and then there is the power cuts happen. So don't you think your productivity will fall? Will you be able to concentrate and study, especially in North India? When you are in North India, where you have so much of so much of heat, in summer months, how you gonna tackle that heat? So solar energy can be a better alternative, and it can help you to tackle those social problems. Okay. It can help to tackle electricity availability for rural areas, needs to improper human development. Then most energy demands are fulfilled by the kerosene. Okay, in rural areas, this kerosene is still prevalent. The government is providing this kerosene through the PDS shops. So imagine that how much social development that you can provide by installing solar energy in the remotest part. Then yes, it will help us to tackle environmental concerns that I have already explained. Then ambitious target under UNFFC. So we have pledged in COP 26 in 2021, COP 26, we have pledged that we will ensure the INDCs, पेरिस क्लाइमेट अकॉर्ड के बाद ये INDCs का कंसेप्ट आया था, इंडेंटेड नेशनली डिटर्मिन्ड कंट्रीब्यूशन। नेशनली डिटर्मिन्ड contributions. Under this, each country will set some targets according to their own need, according to their own capacity. They will set their own targets and they will try working in achieving those targets by 2030. So India का जो target है INDC है वो है to achieve the emission intensity by 33 to 35% below 2005 level. That means जितना भी emission अभी हम कर रहे हैं, we will reduce that emission almost 35% with what level? With the level that was there in 2005. 2005 में जो level था emissions का, उससे 35% कम कर लेंगे हम overall emission. कब तक? 2030 तक। देन हमारा एक और टारगेट है कि 2030 तक नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल बेस्ड जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है, यानी रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी से जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेट होगी, वो उसका जो शेयर है वो 40% के आसपास पहुंचा देंगे। ओके, सो दिस इज द टारगेट अंडर UNFCCC। ऑलराइट, बट गाइस सोलर एनर्जी के कुछ challenges भी हैं. There are some challenges related to solar energy. So guys, whenever the question will come, see, when you are writing questions for the mains, especially GS3 mains, you have to focus on few things. The first important focus should be that how you gonna write a balanced answer. ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर सोलर एनर्जी का क्वेश्चन आया तो आप सीधा सिर्फ एडवांटेजेस लिखकर आ जाओ. यू हैव टू बी अ लिटिल क्रिटिकल इन नेचर. थोड़ा सा क्रिटिकल होना भी जरूरी है. सो ऑब्वियसली सोलर एनर्जी के कुछ चैलेंजेस हैं. वो पहला चैलेंज क्या है? द रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग. सो गाइस, when you are switching to solar energy, you have to restructure the complete power generation of the country. What is the present installation that you have? You have to change all such installation and then focus on the solar energy. Next, the high cost. Now, right now, the cost of installing solar energy is a little high. अभी जो प्रेजेंट कॉस्ट है, द कॉस्ट इज रिलेटिवली वेरी हाई एंड दैट मेक्स द ओवरऑल जनरेशन ऑफ सोलर एनर्जी अ लिटिल अनफीजिबल. सो व्हाट वी कैन डू, वी कैन प्रमोट न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज इन सोलर एनर्जी so that more companies can come and more production will happen. When more production will happen in solar energy, then automatically the prices for the installation of solar energy will fall down. Then lack of land availability. हमारे देश में लैंड की ऑलरेडी कमी है. कहां से आप लाओगे जमीन जहां पर आप ये सोलर प्लांट्स लगा सको? There are solutions like floating solar plants. ठीक है, floating solar plants and floating solar parks. These are some options. Like we can use or we can install solar plants in desert areas जहां पर बहुत abundant आपका solar energy रहता है. So desert area में you can install. The solutions could be, एक बहुत ही interesting solution मैंने पढ़ा था एक research में, that do you know that all these canals, हम जो कैनाल बनाते हैं, जो रिवर्स बनाते हैं आर्टिफिशियली, हम उसके ऊपर भी कवर कर सकते हैं सोलर पैनल से, सो दैट आपको एक सरफेस एरिया मिल गया. इससे 2-3 एडवांटेज होंगे आपके. आप उन कैनाल से इवेपोरेटिव लॉसेस भी कम कर लोगे. सो जब भी आप किसी बर्तन को ढक के रखते हो तो वहां से इवेपोरेशन रेट इंपैक्ट होगा. सेम प्रिंसिपल अप्लाइज इन योर कैनाल्स. देन गाइस, द लीगल चैलेंज. एक अनदर इशू इज the legal challenge at WTO. So WTO is always, they focus on India giving high subsidy. इंडिया जनरली इन सब चीजों पर बहुत ज्यादा सब्सिडी देता है ताकि आप इजीली इन सब चीजों को प्रमोट कर सको, और ये WTO को या बाकी सब कंट्रीज को ये पसंद नहीं आता, बिकॉज उनके कंट्रीज में किसी भी तरह की सब्सिडीज नहीं है. सो लेट्स अज्यूम अ कंट्री ए, लेट्स से इंडिया में एक कंपनी ए है जो कि सोलर पैनल्स का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रही है. ओके, दिस कंट्री इज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सोलर पैनल्स विद अ सब्सिडी. इसको सब्सिडी मिल रही है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, टैक्स रिबेट्स मिल रही हैं, जिसकी वजह से द कंपनी ए इन इंडिया इज इजीली प्रोड्यूसिंग लार्ज नंबर ऑफ सोलर पैनल्स वेरी इजीली, एंड दे आर एक्सपोर्टिंग दीज पैनल्स इन डिफरेंट कंट्रीज. सिमिलरली एक कंट्री बी है जो कि एक यूरोपियन कंट्री में है, और वहां पर जो वो सोलर पैनल बना रहे हैं उसकी कॉस्ट बहुत ज्यादा है, उस पर टैक्सेस देने पड़ रहे हैं, तो जिसकी ओवरऑल कॉस्ट, सोलर पैनल की कॉस्ट बहुत ज्यादा होगी जो कि यूरोप में बना एक सोलर पैनल होगा. सो डोंट यू थिंक इंडिया will, or Indian company A will be advantaged at a international level? क्या इंडिया को एडवांटेज नहीं मिलेगा? बिल्कुल मिल रहा है. सो यही एक प्रॉब्लम बन जाती है WTO में. WTO is against such initiative. Then lack of internal demand. आज भी हमारे देश में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ सोलर पैनल्स इज लो. व्हाई? बिकॉज आज भी हम इतनी ज्यादा डिमांड जनरेट नहीं कर पाए हैं. लाइक हाउ मेनी नेबर्स अराउंड यू हैव इंस्टॉल्ड सोलर पैनल्स? कितनों के पास है? वेरी फ्यू. ठीक है, आपके पूरे एरिया में बहुत कम लोग होंगे क्योंकि लोग डिमांड ही नहीं कर रहे. अभी भी पीपल आर नॉट वेल अवेयर रिगार्डिंग द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ सोलर टेक्नोलॉजी. मे बी आप ये वीडियो शेयर कर सकते हो और उनको इंपॉर्टेंस बता सकते हो कि सोलर पैनल का कितना ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है. ठीक है. सो एंड गाइस, इफ यू आर वाचिंग मी फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू like this video. Okay, do like this video as well. All right, so this what we have discussed is a little challenges related to solar energy. Now guys, we will see that what all initiatives the government has taken in regard to the solar energy. So the first scheme is PM Kusum scheme, which was launched in 2019. Full form प्रधान मंत्री किसान ऊर्जा सुरक्षा एवं उत्थान महाभियान. This is the full form of PM Kusum scheme. It was launched in 2019 to provide solar pumps to the farmers. Subsidize solar pumps to the farmers. It will help to generate solar energy in the barren land, and the target of the government is to generate 25,750 megawatt of solar capacity by 2022. Then solar rooftop program. The solar rooftop program, this was launched in 2010. Now government has launched to promote solar panels on the rooftop of residential, commercial, industrial buildings. It offers financial incentives, subsidies and net metering policies to encourage the individuals and businesses to generate their own solar power. Now what is this net metering? Basically, whatever energy that you are generating from the solar panels, you can sell the surplus energy to the power houses or the solar company, the power companies. You can sell them. और what they do generally, net metering के अंदर क्या करते हैं वो, let's say you have a total capacity of 10 megawatt. आप 10 megawatt बिजली बनाते हो एक महीने में, in a month, and your consumption is let's say 6 megawatt. You consume 6 megawatt. So this 4 megawatt of electricity which is surplus, you can sell this to power company, or what generally power company does, the power company will with a tariff, so जो आपका रेगुलर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल आएगा वहां से वो पैसा माइनस कर देंगे एंड यू विल अल्टीमेटली सेव मनी देयर। इसको कहते हैं नेट मीटरिंग अंडर सोलर रूफटॉप प्रोग्राम। ये आज भी एप्लीकेबल है स्कीम। अगर आप एक्स्ट्रा सोलर पावर जनरेट करते हो अपने घर के ऊपर, आप सरकार को बेच सकते हो एक्स्ट्रा सरप्लस एनर्जी। देन अटल ज्योति योजना, ये 2016 में लॉन्च की गई थी। दिस स्कीम फोकसेस ऑन प्रोवाइडिंग सोलर पावर टू रूरल एरियाज वेयर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सेस इज लिमिटेड। सो स्पेशली रूरल एरियाज को सोलर एनर्जी देने के लिए अटल ज्योति योजना वॉज लॉन्च्ड। इट एम्स टू इंस्टॉल सोलर स्ट्रीट लाइट्स, होम लाइटिंग सिस्टम्स, सोलर पावर प्लांट्स इन ऑफ ग्रिड विलेजेस। नाउ व्हाट आर ऑफ ग्रिड विलेजेस? जो कि अभी भी मेन ग्रिड से कनेक्टेड नहीं है। सो यू कैन गिव देम द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, यू कैन इंप्रूव द क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ ऑफ द रूरल पीपल। सो अटल ज्योति योजना। देन नेशनल सोलर मिशन 2010 में लॉन्च किया गया था। द टारगेट फॉर सोलर पावर जनरेशन इन इंडिया, इट एम्स टू इंक्रीज द शेयर ऑफ सोलर एनर्जी इन कंट्रीज एनर्जी मिक्स through a combination of policy initiatives, financial incentives and capacity building programs. National Solar Mission. Then a very important mission, guys. This is not just a scheme now. It has turned into an international organization. International Solar Alliance. ये इंडिया और फ्रांस ने मिलकर बनाया था। 2014 में लॉन्च किया गया था, 2015 से एप्लीकेबल है। सो दिस अलायंस विल फैसिलिटेट कोऑपरेशन अमंग द सोलर रिच कंट्रीज लाइक ऑल द ट्रॉपिकल कंट्रीज, ऑल द कंट्रीज विच आर बिटवीन द ट्रॉपिक्स। ये कंट्रीज जितनी भी सोलर एनर्जी का यहां पर प्रोडक्शन हो, प्रमोशन हो, and then all the countries which are in the tropical belt, they can share some advanced technologies related to solar energy with each other. So international solar alliance का straight away ये objective था। इसी को further advance करा गया COP21 में, कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टी 21 में UNFCCC की, जहां पर लॉन्च किया गया वन सन वन वर्ल्ड वन ग्रिड। इससे क्वेश्चन भी आया था स्ट्रेट अवे, 2021 का क्वेश्चन है, GS3 का क्वेश्चन था ये, वन सन वन वर्ल्ड वन ग्रिड। यानी वन सन, यू हैव वन सन, सो वन वर्ल्ड, दैट इज यू कंसिडर वन द वर्ल्ड एज वन, सो एंड वन ग्रिड का मतलब लेट्स से इन इंडिया वी जनरेट surplus solar energy, and if Nepal needs some solar energy, so we can transfer that solar energy which is generated in India to Nepal. So पूरे वर्ल्ड को एक ग्रिड में कन्वर्ट कर देंगे, जहां पर जो भी सरप्लस एनर्जी होगी वो डेफिसिट कंट्रीज को सप्लाई कर सकता है। So it focus on the framework for facilitating global cooperation, building a global ecosystem of interconnected renewable energy resources. Now that can seamlessly share, it can easily share. Then viable gap funding schemes, like any country which is lacking the finances, जिसके पास कैपिटल की कमी है, सो उसको वाइबल गैप फंडिंग के जरिए पैसा मिल जाएगा और वो सोलर सिस्टम से, सोलर ग्रिड से कनेक्ट कर दिया जाएगा। सो दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट concept, one sun one world one grid. Then guys, what is the way forward? हम कैसे सोलर एनर्जी को इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं? सबसे पहले यूज ऑफ वेस्ट लैंड, क्योंकि हमारे देश में लैंड की कमी है, हम ऐसे बंजर जमीनों को इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं जहां पर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस हो जाए। ठीक है, सो इंडिया का टोटल 3% ऐसा लैंड है जो कि वेस्ट लैंड की कैटेगरी में है। यहां पर सोलर पावर प्लांट्स इंस्टॉल किए जा सकते हैं, जैसे डेजर्ट में, जैसे लद्दाख रीजन में। ठीक है, थार डेजर्ट में या किसी भी ऐसे माउंटेन टॉप पर आप एक प्लांट लगा दो. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स कैन बी यूटिलाइज. देन प्रमोटिंग डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड प्लांट्स. To promote the usage of rooftop solar plants and other solar appliance schemes should be introduced, which is based on the existing schemes for LED distributions. आप सोलर पैनल्स को भी बिल्कुल वैसे ही बेचना शुरू करो जैसे आपने LEDs को इतना ज्यादा पॉपुलर करा. Like we all know guys, right now we only use LED. All those old tube lights, orange bulb, there is no more usage of such old equipments anymore. अब जितना भी हर घर में LED पहुंच गया है, ठीक है, सरकार ने गांव गांव में LED पहुंचाया है अब बहुत सारी स्कीम्स के चलते, उजाला. तो आप क्यों ना सोलर पैनल्स या सोलर टेक्नोलॉजी को भी ऐसे ही गांव गांव पहुंचाओ. देन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. देयर इज अ नीड टू इंप्रूव मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. ये कैसे हो सकता है? द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ फ्लैट ग्लास and its raw material must be expanded to eliminate the supply constraint or future imports. Solar panels can be located in the space between the towers of wind power plants. So wind power plants के ऊपर ही solar power plants भी लगाए जा सकते हैं. This is another example of utilizing the solar energy in an efficient way. Then financing mechanism. पैसा कहां से आएगा? So we can improve more finances for this solar technology. जहां पर Ministry of Finance can use some innovative financing measures to promote capital intensive renewable projects. Financing measures such as clean energy fund, generation based incentive like linked loan repayment and green bonds. इस तरह के मैकेनिज्म से आप पैसा रेज कर सकते हो. एंड देन रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट. लाइक विद मोर रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट वी कैन रिड्यूस द साइज ऑफ द पैनल्स, मेकिंग देम मोर एफिशिएंट. लाइक यूज ऑफ नैनो ट्यूब्स, नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी, यूज ऑफ ग्राफीन ट्यूब्स. इससे क्या होगा? आपके सोलर पैनल विल बिकम मोर एफिशिएंट. The size of solar panel will also reduce. Then we can further take anti-dumping measures. So like चाइना से जितना भी सोलर इक्विपमेंट्स आ रहा है बहुत सस्ता चाइना प्रोड्यूस करता है. We can impose special duties on China so that we can save ourselves from the dumping done by the China. So I hope हम सब समझ गए हैं कि सोलर एनर्जी क्या है, उसके एडवांटेजेस क्या है, डिसएडवांटेजेस क्या है, गवर्नमेंट इनिशिएटिव्स क्या है और कैसे फर्दर सोलर एनर्जी को इंप्रूव किया जा सकता है. नाउ वी विल स्टार्ट व्हाट इज विंड एनर्जी. सो विंड एनर्जी को भी बिल्कुल वैसे ही पढ़ेंगे जैसे हमने सोलर एनर्जी को पढ़ा. सो सबसे पहले विंड भी एक रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी है. इट्स अ क्लीन एनर्जी. सो हाउ इट इज जनरेटेड? बाय कन्वर्टिंग द काइनेटिक एनर्जी प्रेजेंट इन द विंड इनटू मैकेनिकल एनर्जी which in turn convert into electricity. So एक बेसिक कंसेप्ट विंड एनर्जी का आपको पता ही होगा. विंड एनर्जी बेसिकली कैसे बनती है? आपके विंड की जो एनर्जी है, दैट मीन्स विंड के अंदर जो काइनेटिक एनर्जी है उससे आपके टरबाइंस घूमेंगे. टरबाइंस घूम के उसको कनेक्ट कर दिया जाता है एक जनरेटर से और वहां से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेट हो जाती है. ये हमने स्कूल टाइम में ये सब पढ़ा था. Now, what are the advantages of wind energy? Advantages क्या है? First of all, it is alternate to the fossil fuel. Just like solar energy, ये भी एक important alternative है हमारे सभी solar fuels का, sorry, fossil fuels का. Then wind energy is also clean energy. इस energy से आपको किसी भी तरह का green house gas emission नहीं होगा. Okay, so there will be no greenhouse gas emissions. So what is the result? That the result will be that it does not contaminate the air, there is no pollution, and it is inexhaustible. That means wind potential, ऐसा तो नहीं है wind energy कभी खत्म हो जाएगी. Wind energy will remain, it will keep on blowing because of the natural factors. Then the economic benefit. So there is a direct economic benefit of wind energy. How or what is the economic benefit? That we have an abundant global supply of wind, and then that too it is indigenous source. हमारे इंडिया में ही इतने एरियाज हैं जहां पर इतनी हाई स्पीड ऑफ विंड है. So you can reduce your dependence on imports, you can create more jobs, and then ultimately it will help us to foster economic growth. Then scope in remote areas. What are the different scope in remote areas? So wind energy can be installed anywhere. It is not that it has to be near the urban areas, only then the wind energy can be utilized. You can use and install wind energy anywhere in any part of the world. In the remotest corner of India, you can easily install it. Then geographical advantage. Like India has a very big coastline, around 7,700 kilometers of coastline. And we all know near the coastline, the speed of wind is very high. Yes or no? The speed of wind is very high. So this high speed wind gives us a high potential to utilize this energy. And then wind power is very cost effective. That means if you calculate the per unit cost of expenditure on 1 unit produced, it is quite low. So this is one advantage. Then what is the status of wind energy? So the top 5 nations, Germany, US, Denmark, Spain, and India, these top 5 nations account for 80% of the world installed wind capacity. पूरे वर्ल्ड का 80% wind energy is generated in these 5 nations. Potential की अगर बात करें हम, according to the Ministry of Renewable Energy, the estimated potential of generating wind energy in India at a maximum height of 100 meters above the ground is 302 gigawatt. ये समझ लो 410 गीगावाट का तो हमारा ओवरऑल टारगेट है 2030 तक, और अकेले विंड एनर्जी का पोटेंशियल इज 302 गीगावाट. सो इमेजिन दैट हाउ मच वी कैन जनरेट. एट प्रेजेंट February 23 तक हमने 42.2 गीगावाट का बिजनेस, 42.2 गीगावाट का विंड जनरेशन, wind electricity generation हमने करा है. And then in the next 5 years we are targeting to reach at 20 gigawatt. Then what the compound annual growth rate for wind generation has been 11.39% between 2010 and 20. 2010 से 20 के बीच में जो टोटल विंड जनरेशन है वो 11.39% से बढ़ी है. एंड फॉर द इंस्टॉल्ड कैपेसिटी इट हैज इंक्रीज्ड बाय 8.78%. ऑल दीज डेटास आर इंपॉर्टेंट गाइस. यू कैन यूज दिस डेटा इन योर आंसर राइटिंग. Then more than 95% of the commercially exploitable resources are located in the 7 states. That means wind energy is confined to 7 states in India. What are those? Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, तमिलनाडु। इनमें से मैक्सिमम स्टेट्स आप देखोगे सारी कोस्टल है, बिकॉज मैंने आपको बताया कोस्टल एरियाज में वी हैव मोर पोटेंशियल ऑफ विंड एनर्जी। देन गाइस, what are the issues and challenges with wind energy? So lack of land availability. First of all, wind turbines, just like your solar turbines, wind turbines require huge areas covered, open land. Okay, like solar energy can be installed on the rooftops. It is very difficult to install wind energy on the rooftops. Then lack of land availability. So the construction of wind farms requires large area, okay, open areas. Then competition for suitable land with high wind speed and grid connectivity has grown intense. Like which company will go for what area? अब आपको एरिया पर भी रिसर्च करनी पड़ेगी कि उस एरिया में विंड स्पीड ऑन एन एवरेज कितनी रहती है. So this is one issue. Then National Offshore Wind Energy Policy. For offshore wind energy, India has a vibrant policy which come up in October 2015. It is known as the National Offshore Wind Energy Policy Framework. Now, what is offshore wind and onshore wind? Do you understand this division? So basically, offshore wind ऐसे विंड एनर्जी को कहते हैं जो कि इट इज टुवर्ड्स मोर इंटीरियर्स ऑफ द कॉन्टिनेंट. लाइक ऑल द विंड एनर्जी जनरेशन ऑन द कोस्ट इज नोन एज द ऑनशोर विंड, एंड द विंड इंस्टॉलेशन इनसाइड द अर्थ और इनसाइड द कॉन्टिनेंट्स आर नोन एज द ऑफशोर विंड. Then इसके बाद another issue is the solar wind hybrid policy. So the main objective of the policy is to promote grid connected wind solar photovoltaic hybrid system for efficient utilization of resources, infrastructure and land. Like if you want to have a proper connectivity, you have one place where electricity is generated. How you will transport that generated electricity to the grids? This is the biggest challenge with wind energy. Then not cost competitive. This is the another issue with wind power, because wind power must still compete with the conventional source of energy on the basis of cost. Like for example, the cost that you are spending in generating coal energy, थर्मल पावर प्लांट से जो आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो, और द वाइस वर्सा, आप विंड से जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो, जो ओवरऑल कॉस्ट विंड एनर्जी की है वो बहुत ज्यादा हाई है. देन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर lacunas, like we lack good wind sites which are often located in remote areas far from the cities where the electricity is needed. Like आप रन ऑफ कच्छ में विंड एनर्जी बहुत अच्छे से बना सकते हो, बट वहां पर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंजम्पशन इतनी नहीं है. तो जो जितनी भी विंड साइट्स हैं वो ज्यादातर रिमोट एरियाज में लोकेटेड रहती हैं, बट वहां पर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी की डिमांड इतनी नहीं है. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी की डिमांड है सिटीज में. सो दिस इज वन सच इशू. सो वी नीड टू डेवलप अ काइंड ऑफ अ ग्रिड सिस्टम वेयर electricity generated at one place can be transported to the cities. Then wind systems का, wind energy का सबसे बड़ा ड्रॉबैक है noise pollution. Okay, noise pollution and visual impacts. So there is lot of noise that has been produced because of the ongoing rotating turbines. जितने भी टर्बाइंस रोटेट करते हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा शोर करते हैं. ओके, which is another issue related with the wind pollution or the wind energy. It creates noise pollution. Then lethal to birds. We all know that generally the speed of the turbines are so high that the birds cannot judge the rotating turbines, and then they often collide and can it turns out to be a little fatal for fatal for the birds. Okay, so these are the issues. So how we can improve the wind energy in country? First of all, what is the way forward? The first solution is grid integration. So we need to connect the wind energy with the grids. Grids क्या होती है? जिससे आप सरप्लस एनर्जी को ट्रांसपोर्ट कर सको, उसको स्टोर कर सको और एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पर एनर्जी को ट्रांसपोर्ट कर सको. All this is part of your storage system and grid integration system. Then we need proper policies and regulatory mechanism to support wind generation. So we need supportive policies and regulation to encourage growth of wind energy, such as हमें tariffs reduce करने होंगे, tax incentives देने होंगे, so that we can further promote wind energy. Then international collaborations. We need to have some best of the technologies coming from different countries. Okay, we need to develop those connect so that technology transfer can happen and we can get the advanced technologies in wind energy. And then obviously public awareness and engagement. This is also important so that we can educate the people about the benefits of wind energy, how it is helping us in tackling the greenhouse emissions, how it is engaging the stakeholders in the decision making processes to build acceptance and support for the wind farm projects. Then innovation and cost reduction. So encouraging innovation in wind energy technologies so that you can reduce the cost of installation and can have more output. This is also a solution for improving wind technology. Along with this innovation and cost reduction, this will automatically come through technology advancement. So we need to carry out more research and development, improve turbine efficiency, increase capacity factors, and reduce the maintenance cost. This will automatically reduce the overall price of the wind energy. Then integration with other renewable energy. Like in one wind energy, you can also install solar panels. So with one such windmill, you can generate solar energy as well as the wind energy. एक ही जगह से आप multiple renewable energies generate कर सकते हो. This is another important aspect of wind energy. And then we need a competitive private investment. We need to bring in private players, maybe foreign direct investment in this sector, so that at each stage we can harness energy from winds, and which can help us to generate a competitive private investment to drive the progress. Then for the importers, let's say one company is importing wind turbines from Netherlands. So what can happen is you can reduce your tax duties, tax exemptions. You can reduce the tax rate so that it becomes cheaper for the importers of the wind turbines, so that they can easily import and reduce the cost. And then obviously it will help with the commitment to Paris Agreement. So India should take on the challenge of being among the top 5 countries in the world in getting rid of the fossil fuel energy. So this is our commitment. This is our one of our INDCs. Okay? We have to contribute at least 40% of non-fossil fuel based energy by 2030. This is our target. Okay? So next guys, we are right now looking for the different types of renewable energy. तो दो type of energy हमने already पढ़ ली है, solar energy and wind energy. Next we are moving to the hydropower energy. Okay, next we are moving to the hydropower energy. Now we all know that how hydroelectricity is generated. So generally the water is stored at a height, and when the water is released, the running water, the kinetic energy in the water, it will rotate the turbines, and then which ultimately will generate the electricity. So there are multiple forms of hydro, or there are multiple usage of a hydropower plant. First of all, it is not just helping you to generate electricity, but it can also help you to divert whatever extra amount of water in some low lying areas, in some dry areas. So it helps us in irrigation, it helps us in flood management, it helps us in generating electricity, and it helps us to utilize the water in a more efficient way. However, there are issues and challenges related to hydroelectricity, but let us first see that what are the importance of hydropower energy. So the first important aspect is clean and renewable energy. So hydroelectricity is generally, it does not produce any greenhouse gas emissions. It is clean and green. First importance is this. Second, large scale generation. So one hydroelectric plant, depending upon the available of the volume of water availability, depending upon the amount of or the height of the project, you can generate high demands of, you can complement the high demands of electricity by providing it to the nearby cities and the regions. Then energy storage and grid stability. So hydropower facilitates with the reservoirs that offer energy storage capabilities, which help to stabilize the grid by balancing the electricity supply and demand. Just a second guys, I am facing some issues. Then flexibility and integration. So hydropower plants can adjust output very quickly, making them valuable for integrating intermittent renewable sources and maintaining the grid stability. Then hydroelectric power plants helps in water management and flood control. So we all know that whenever in the rainy season, the rivers carry more water, so we can regulate the flow of excess water so that we can prevent the floods in the low-lying area. And yes, we can divert the water in different areas so that we can balance the surplus amount of water. So this is the advantage of the hydro power plants. And then yes, construction of new hydropower plants will help in more job creation, more economic development, construction, maintenance of hydro plants, creating more jobs. So it is beneficial for the economy. And the lifespan of one hydropower plant is way too long. So they have a very high lifespan. Once you construct a hydro plant, it will remain there for a very long time. So it has a high durability. Now, what are the challenges associated with the hydro plants? First challenge, that it is capital intensive. Like starting or you know working on a hydropower plants from a scratch requires huge fund. This is the first challenge. Then when you are blocking the water, you have to clear the nearby areas, you have to cut down the different trees of that region, so it will further promote deforestation, which is ultimately harmful for the environment. Then there are many small villages nearby rivers. So whenever you select a hydroelectric site, you have to acquire the land. So in terms of land acquisition, you have to rehabilitate all the local population of that area, and then you have to acquire that land. So generally land acquisition is a state subject and it creates further political issues in that region. Then guys, the construction of hydroelectric plants, it also impact the biodiversity. How it impacts biodiversity? It straightaway hinders the natural river systems as well as the fish, the wildlife. So the local biodiversity is impacted. First of all, with habitat destruction. The first major impact is because of the habitat destruction. Then along with habitat destruction, you will straight away, like if there are tigers, if there are the prey deers available in that area, so that prey base balance in the food chain will also be distorted when you start constructing such a big projects. Then obviously it will slow down or permanently block or partially block the river, the natural flow of river. Now don't you think the marine life in the river will be impacted because of this? Then obviously it will create different type of disputes like interstate dispute. Very recently there is a dispute that has arisen related to Meka Datu project in river Kaveri. So Karnataka is constructing a project Meka-Datu, which is ultimately creating troubles for the relations between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Then lack of enabling infrastructure. So a number of hydropower projects are located in the remote sites which do not have any adequate demand for electricity. This creates the requirement for developing an enabling infrastructure for power evacuation. So this is one issue. So what could be the way forward? How we can improve hydroelectricity? So the first is that we can introduce more policy reforms and incentives. We need to implement some favorable policies that can encourage hydropower development in India. Along with this, we need to follow a sustainable approach. So we need to have a proper environmental impact assessment so that we can conduct a comprehensive impact assessment so that which is adhered to the regulations. Then modernization and upgradation. So whatever present hydropower plants that we have, we can upgrade them so that we can with advanced technology, so that ultimately it will improve the efficiency and the output. Then small hydropower plants and mini grids. So to promote the development of the small scale projects, the mini grid system for the remote areas with the limited grid access. And then we need a cross border cooperation as well for developing hydropower plants. Next, guys, we will be doing biofuels. So first of all, you should know that what are biofuel. It is another form of renewable energy which India is prospecting to invest, and this is the next future of India. So biofuels are basically the fuels that are generated with some biological action. So it can be a liquid, gas, or a solid, which is primarily produced from a biomass, and that can be used to replace or can be used as an add-on. Okay, can be used as an add-on to the diesel, petrol, and your regular fossil fuel for transportation, for stationary, portable, and other applications. Then the crops used to make biofuels are generally either high in sugar, starch, or oils. Like guys, biofuels are of different generations. What are the first generation biofuel? First generation biofuel is the basic biofuel that you must have done in your school. Biogas, सुना होगा ना biogas. You dug up a pit, you fill that pit with all organic compost, then you close it, so it will create methane, and you can utilize that methane and generate electricity, or you can generate power. This is the first generation. The second generation biofuel is using the organic waste from many industries such as sugar cane industry. आपने देखा होगा whenever you extract the sugar juice, what is left is the molasses, the residue. So that residue can be further processed and we can utilize the extract as biofuel and we can use it. So this is the second generation biofuel. The third generation biofuel is what? The third generation biofuel is your many plants and crops which are grown with the intention to generate biofuels. Like one such plant is Jethropa. One such plant is Jethropa. Then the fourth generation, and which is the most recent biofuel, is algae. So there are now technologies available where you can culture algae and you can extract biofuel from that algae. So these are the different generations of biofuels, especially this fourth generation, very much important. So India possesses a biomass resource of 500 million tons annually. This is our potential, with a surplus of 120 to 150 million tons. So right now, biofuel contribute around 12.83% to the overall renewable energy generation. So overall contribution of biofuel is 12.83%. Then guys, there are different type of biofuels right now which are available. First, bioethers. Now what are bioether? They are oxygenated compounds derived from any renewable sources that can be used as an additive to gasoline or diesel. Have you heard of biopetrols or biodiesel? Now basically what is biopetrol or biodiesel? They add some kind of a bioether and mix it with the regular petrol. So ultimately it will help to reduce the overall emissions in the fuel. Abhi to this is so much so we are even using this in aviation fuel. Biodiesel, biopetrol को aviation fuel में भी use कर रहे हैं और thereby reducing the overall emissions. Like bioethanol. Bioethanol is derived from corn, sugarcane using the fermentation. A liter of ethanol contains 2/3 of the energy provided by a liter of petrol. यानी 1 लीटर एथेनॉल में आपको 2/3 पोर्शन ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी मिलेगी जितनी आपको 1 लीटर पेट्रोल में मिलती है. सो कोई बात नहीं, इट इज लेस कैलोरिफिक बट it will improve the performance if you mix the both. So it will have lower emissions, lower carbon monoxide and lower sulfur dioxide. This is the main advantage of bioethanol. Similarly, bioethanol पेट्रोल के साथ मिक्स है, एक बायोडीजल भी एक्सट्रैक्ट होता है. So it is extracted from vegetative oils like soybean, palm oils, animal fats. इसको आप बायोकेमिकल प्रोसेसेस से, जिसको ट्रांस इथरिफिकेशन कहते हैं, इससे आप प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हो बायोडीजल. सो इट प्रोड्यूसेस अ वेरी लेस और नो नंबर ऑफ हार्मफुल गैसेस कंपेयर्ड टू योर रेगुलर डीजल. सो वेरी सून यू विल फाइंड all our cars being replaced by biodiesel. Ethanol blending, the government is planning to introduce ethanol blending by at least 20% in your regular petrol and diesel cars. Then biogas. Biogas is something very simple. ये हमने starting बचपन में ही पढ़ लिया था, a type of a renewable energy. So the major proportion of biogas is methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, hydrogen, carbon monoxide. All these are biogas. It is commonly used for heating, electricity and automobiles. Then biobutanol. Now it is produced in the same way as bioethanol from fermentation of the starch. So this butanol is highest among the gasoline alternatives because इसकी जो calorific value है, that means with 1 liter of biobutanol you can generate maximum energy in comparison to the other biofuels. And the last one is biohydrogen. Biohydrogen, जैसे biogas, can be produced using different type of processes like pyrolysis, gasification, biofermentation, and you can easily replace your biofuels with biohydrogen. Acha, by the way, biohydrogen is different from your regular hydrogen fuel. Regular hydrogen fuel अभी पढ़ाऊंगा, इसके just बाद will cover regular hydrogen fuel. Then guys, what are the government initiatives taken to promote biofuels in India? First, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन योजना. प्रधानमंत्री जीवन योजना के अंदर it is G1. G stands for Jeev and 1 stands for the jungle. So it promotes advanced biofuel production from agriculture, forest residue, municipal solid waste that will encourage more research and development. Then we have a national biofuel policy. The government introduced a policy to increase biofuel blending in petrol and diesel, promoting biofuel production and consumption. Then it has the objective of reaching 20% ethanol blending and 5% biodiesel blending by the year 2030. यही मैं आपको भी बता रहा था. Then Gobar Dhan scheme. Gobar Dhan stands for galvanizing organic bioagro resources in 2018. So it focuses on managing and converting cattle dung into solid waste in farms so that you can use the compost, biogas, bio-CNG and keeping the villages clean and increasing the income of the household. This is Govardhan scheme. Then biodiesel purchase policy of 2006. Now this mandates the biodiesel blending with the diesel and facilitate the procurement from the non-edible oils using cooking oil, animal fat, etc. Then the government initiatives, other government initiatives like ethanol blending program, जो कि मैंने आपको अभी बताया. The program encouraged the blending of ethanol with petrol, supported by incentives, procurement mechanisms, infrastructure development. Then we have set up a Department of Biotechnology under Ministry of Science and Technology for research and development in projects such as biofuels, including advanced conversion technologies and biorefineries. Then the government is also providing incentives and subsidies, financial assistance, tax exemptions. Then research and development, it supports research initiatives to improve feedstock availability, conversion technology, biofuel production efficiencies. Then awareness and capacity building. So it conducts awareness campaigns, capacity building programs to educate the stakeholders, to provide technical training on the biofuel production and utilization. Then what is the way forward? How we can further improve the biofuels? First, scaling up the production. So we need to encourage investments, incentivize increase biofuel production. Then we need to diversify the feedstock. Explore alternative feedstock options to ensure sustainable availability, advanced conversion technologies. Then infrastructure development. We need to develop more dedicated infrastructure for the storage, blending, distribution. Then carrying out awareness and acceptance. Then to make supportive policies, research and development, and skill development. Next, National Biofuel Policy of 2018. This National Biofuel Policy of 2018 was notified by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which has overtaken the last biofuel policy of 2009. So what are the basic comprehensive framework added in this biofuel policy? First, the basic biofuel policy, where it promotes first generation biofuels like bioethanol and biodiesel derived from the feedstocks such as sugarcane, molasses, sugar containing materials. This is the first generation biofuels. Also known as biogas. Then advanced biofuels. Now what are the advanced category of biofuel? That means the second generation and third generation biofuels. Second generation means using the municipal waste, then utilizing the that processing that municipal waste and then extracting the fuels from it. The third generation biofuels are like bio CNG, non-food biomass, like you can also produce biofuels from many crops, agricultural residue, etc. Then what are the expanded features of National Biofuel Policy? Expanded feedstock options. Like this policy allows a wide range of feedstocks for ethanol production, including sugarcane juice, sugar containing minerals, starch containing minerals. So we can expand the feedstock options. Then utilizing the surplus food grains. So any surplus food grain which is not being utilized anywhere can be transformed to extract biofuels. Then we can initiate some viability gap funding schemes, for which like 50,000 crore funding over 6 years for 2G ethanol refineries, bridging viability gap, promoting advanced biofuel infrastructure. Then additional incentives. We can further give some subsidies, some additional incentives to all those companies which are creating or which are manufacturing biofuels. So this additional subsidy will attract more investment and commercialization of the biofuel technology. Then this biofuel policy of 2018 gives a roadmap for development of biofuel, how strategic framework can enhance the energy security, can reduce the emission and promote rural development, generating employment through the biofuel sector. Now, one important aspect of the biofuel economy is methanol economy. So methanol economy refers to a concept that proposes methanol as a potential alternative to the fossil fuel. So it involves utilizing methanol as a clean and substantial energy carrier. So methanol can be produced from various sources such as natural gas, biomass, or even carbon dioxide. Then methanol can be produced from various sources such as natural gas, biomass, and this natural sources can be used to fuel the transportation sector. That means along with ethanol, you can also blend methanol in your regular transportation fuel. Petrol, diesel, you can mix it there. So this methanol economy offers a potential for reduced greenhouse gas emission and greater energy security. So what is the present methanol capacity in India? At present, we have a annual capacity of 2 million tons per annum as per the plan prepared by Niti Aayog. Now, India using high ash coal standard gas and biomass which can produce 20 million tons of methanol annually by 2025. This is the future. Then import reduction. Now if we start blending our methanol with gasoline means petrol and diesel. So with 15% methanol blending can result at least 15% reduction in the import of the gasoline and the crude oil, because the cars will have more mileage, less emissions, and thereby reducing our dependency on the more imports for the gasoline and crude. Then it will also help us to reduce the greenhouse gas emission by 20%. All your harmful particulate matter such as PM10, PM2.5, it will reduce by 20% straight. Then this sector will create high job. It has a huge potential for creating jobs. Around 5 million jobs can be created in this methanol economy, which can save us around 6,000 crore rupees annually by blending 20% dimethyl ether, which is again a kind of a methanol only, a derivative of methanol in LPG. So there is a potential of using methanol in LPG as well, which can again save us 6,000 crore rupees annually. So this is methanol. Now what is the benefit? Again, it will help us to energy security. Then it will import dependency will reduce, like we will be less dependent on the crude oil imports. Cheaper and efficient fuel, your fuel will become less emission carrying fuel and more efficiency in terms of mileage. Then obviously it will promote the Make in India projects. Indigenous fuel production will grow, further saving our important fuel imports. Then obviously job creation, and methanol has a near zero pollution. Okay, methanol has a near zero pollution. That means you can reduce your emission to the to drastic levels. Then what are the challenges to methanol economy? So in the process of manufacturing methanol, you have a very high ash content, and ash is an important pollutant for the environment because the particulate matter of ash rises in the air, mixes with the air as PM2.5 and PM10. So we need a proper fly ash policy for the methanol economy. Then economic viability. So there is a need to overcome the economic challenges associated with the natural gas import dependence. So this is one challenge. Then there are risks associated with this, like methanol is comparatively flammable in nature. So there is always a risk of fire and toxicity which is associated with the methanol as a biofuel. Then research and development. So there is a high cost which is spent and the technical challenges which are involved in the methanol production technologies. So what are the different initiatives launched by the government for improving the methanol? First of all, the Niti Aayog's roadmap, which wants to substitute your regular crude imports with methanol by 2030. Then methanol economy research program, which focuses from various sources including coal and CO2. Then standard notifications like BIS notification for blending 20% of ethanol, that is dimethylene ester, with LPG for different methanol blends. Now we are targeting to achieve this by 2030, blending methanol with your regular LPG. Then transportation and railway blending. How are we going to mix it with the transportation and railways? So we need to evolve test standards and plans so that this blending in the transportation sector and even in railways can be further improved. Along with ethanol, we need to work on blending methanol as well. Then methanol cooking programs. Now this is the Asia's first canister based methanol fuel program which was launched by Assam Petrochemicals. So just like LPG cylinders, they will be giving and using methanol cylinders. This is what canister based methanol cooking program was launched. So methanol economy initiative in India offers a multiple benefits, including energy security, reducing import dependency, job creation, environmental advantages. So we need to overcome all the challenges so that we can grow. Then along with methanol, we have a ethanol blending program. This is also a very important biofuel. You must have heard even Nitin Gadkari ji is saying that very soon we will increase the blending of ethanol and increase it to at least 50% very soon. So the central government has a target of 20% ethanol blending, which is also called as E2, by 2025. So in this period 25 to 30, we are targeting to add 20% of ethanol in your regular petrol and diesel. Advantage, like I have explained it earlier, it will reduce the emissions from your vehicle and increase the fuel efficiency and reduce the cost of the petrol and diesel as well. So the government has released an expert committee which gave a roadmap for ethanol blending in India by 2025. So ethanol blending is basically defined as the blended motor fuel containing ethyl alcohol that is at least 99% pure, which is derived from agricultural products and blended exclusively with the gasoline. And then there is also a rollout of ethanol blended fuel, which is E10. E20 is 20% blending. So we proposed a gradual rollout. Right now, अभी भी ethanol blending हो रही है, and we have achieved this by adding E10 fuel, which was achieved by April 2022, that is last year. So we are right now focusing it to increase it to E20, that is 20% blending for this period 2023 to 2025, and right now we are going in that period. So slowly and slowly more blending of ethanol will happen in your regular petrol and diesel. Then E20 complaint. So it also recommends introducing vehicles that are compatible to E20 material rather than the E10 variants. Now what is the overall significance of ethanol blending, guys? First of all, just like methanol, it will also help you to reduce the pollution. Enhance fuel combustion, reduces emission, reduces your higher octane numbers. So I hope you know that whenever you go to a petrol pump, you see the power petrol or the turbo petrol. Now what this power petrol means, basically there is more octane added to that petrol. More octane means more fuel efficiency and less emission. However, it is a little expensive. So ethanol blending will further help you with the same thing. It will increase the octane numbers in petrol. And then it will have a fiscal benefit as well. Like it will reduce the amount of petrol. Overall petrol dependency will reduce. So you can at least save 30,000 crore rupees a year. Then the impact on emission, this will help to decrease the overall emissions such as carbon monoxide, hydrocarbon, nitrogen oxides. You can help to reduce this. Then energy security. Expanded ethanol use can contribute lowering India's oil and import bill with the potential of saving 4 billion USDs annually through E20 program. Then it will help us to reach carbon neutrality. That means slowly and slowly we will help in decarbonizing our economy. That means removing carbon dioxide from the economy using such advanced petrol. Then what are the significance of ethanol blending? One important significance is that it incentivizes the farmers, because ethanol is produced from the agricultural residue like the sugarcane farmers, the husk which is generated from wheat, from many pulses. So this is incentive to the farmers. It will have an alternative income. Then employment generation, yes, this is the added advantage. It will help to increase the employment in the country in this sector. And then it will help us to comply to whatever international commitments that we have already made, like INDCs. It will help India to fulfill its pledge to reduce its carbon footprint from 2005 levels by 33 to 35% by 2030. This is our international indented national determined contribution, which was signed in UNFFC. So 2030 तक का हमने ये टारगेट ऑलरेडी दे रखा है. There are 5 targets basically. Out of them, one target is to reduce the carbon intensity or the carbon footprint of our economy by 33 to 35% from 2005 level. So this is one significance of ethanol blending. Now what are the challenges? What challenges we will face in ethanol blending? First of all, the production facilities. In India, we do not have many factories that are producing bioethanol that easily. So right now, if you are targeting to mix 20% ethanol with the petrol, you do not have this much of production of ethanol so that you can easily mix 20%. So this is the biggest challenge. Then price uncertainty. So like when the price of sugarcane will rise and fall because of various agricultural hardship, like whenever there is floods and all these crops are destroyed, the cost of sugarcane will rise. When cost of sugarcane will rise, all the residue, the cost of residue will also rise. So there is a high price uncertainty when it comes to the ethanol blending. Then availability of ethanol. So there is a limited availability of ethanol across the country, which raises the transportation cost. Like all the sugar mills are confined to Uttar Pradesh, then in the south. How you will blend the ethanol in northeast? How you will transport it in different southern states? Next, difficult to vaporize. Now, when petrol is added to ethanol fuel to improve the cold start performance in the vehicle due to ethanol's low vaporization properties. So, you cannot straight away depend on the ethanol fuel completely. You need to have a more petrol in your vehicle so that it can easily start in a cold start scenario. And then challenges for the vehicle manufacturers. All the vehicle manufacturers have to do the necessary changes in the engines so that the engines can work efficiently with the ethanol mixed petrol. So this is another challenge. And then obviously it will have problems like environmental clearances. The ethanol production plants, they face delays due to requirement of environmental clearances because it is the part of the red category. So you require the highest possible clearances when you are about to start an ethanol plant, and it takes time. This is one issue. Infrastructural challenges, like marketing places requires an underground tank. Wherever you will be developing or mixing this ethanol, you require underground tanks. And then dispensing units from ethanol blended petroleum supply at retail outlets. Now, already in a petrol pump, you have one tank which is filled with petrol. So how you will create another tank that will add ethanol there and then it will be mixed in the petrol? Or if you mix it in the factory itself and then supply it, again it will impact the efficiency altogether. Then water footprint. So India has become one of the top producers of ethanol. However, it lags behind the other producers such as USA and Brazil. Like the amount of ethanol they are producing and the amount of ethanol we are producing, the gap is too high. And then the manufacturing of ethanol requires the use of high amount of water as well. So in India, we already are depriving of, there is already a water crisis that we are facing in many parts. So how we can introduce such a technology that is so much water intensive? So what is the way forward? Way forward is we can take the suggestion of the vehicle manufacturers, like India's transition towards the E20 fuel open the adaptation of other type of fuels like E85, E100, ED95. So to tackle the price stability, there is a need to declare a floor price. That means you should have a lower limit of the floor price so that the overall pricing of the ethanol cannot increase or decrease drastically. Okay, this is one solution. Then we need to have a uniform availability of ethanol blends across the countries and across the industry. It should not be like this, that you have a different kind of blending going on in one state and different type of blending going on in another state. So this is basically that will hamper your ethanol blending. Then faster environmental clearances. You need to, like I have just told you that ethanol blending it comes under the red category clearances. So it takes the maximum time. So we need to, in order to promote or open up more plants, there is a need to give a faster clearances to such projects. Okay, so these are the solutions. Next is another important energy, guys. It is another important renewable energy, and which is right now the most important energy which is ongoing, the hydrogen based energy. So this hydrogen based energy, it is again a clean fuel, it is a renewable energy. It is an energy carrier that can be used for a broad range of applications. That means hydrogen energy is not only used in the transportation sector, but it has a multidisciplinary use. So first of all, India consumes about 6 million metric tons of grey hydrogen per annum, which is almost about 8.5% of the global hydrogen demand. So in October 2020, Delhi became the first Indian city to operate with the hydrogen enriched CNG, which was a type of a pilot project. So they have mixed your CNG with hydrogen gas. And then India is targeting to produce around 6 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030. This is our target. And then if we talk about the hydrogen based energy, there is a huge availability of hydrogen technology in India. So India has a huge edge in green hydrogen production owing to its own geographical condition and presence of abundant natural elements. Then government incentives. Government is also trying to promote green hydrogen by scaling up the gas pipeline infrastructure across the length and breadth of the country. And then we are also targeting increased capacity, addition to the renewable power generation. Producing green hydrogen in India can become more cost effective if we not only guarantee energy security but also ensure self-sufficiency gradually. Then what are the issues as of now for green hydrogen? The biggest issue is right now this technology is a little expensive, time consuming, because to separate hydrogen gas from its companion substances, it is different. It goes through the electrolysis, where through the electrolysis the hydrogen atom splits. Like you can drive your cars with water. This is basically how it will be done in future. So right now it is difficult to store hydrogen because the transportation of hydrogen is, even a small amount of transportation is very expensive. Then the biggest problem that why it is expensive to store and it is difficult to transport, because hydrogen has a high flammability. So it is a powerful source, but it has a very high calorific value, very flammable. It can burn in air with very wide concentrations between 4% to 75%. It can burn at any temperature. Then another issue is it is very difficult to replace the existing infrastructure with hydrogen. Then to refit and refurbish all the cars, the National Hydrogen Energy Mission of 2022 focus on hydrogen from green power sources, aims to link India's growing renewable capacity with hydrogen economy. Union Budget of 21-22 gives a comprehensive national hydrogen energy mission which is to be launched. Next initiative is National Hydrogen Energy Roadmap. Now the main focus of National Hydrogen Energy Roadmap is to accelerate the development of hydrogen energy sector in India and to adopt by the National Hydrogen Energy Board in January 2006 for the implementation. Another initiative is hydrogen hubs and demonstration projects. So the government is planning to establish some hubs where you can carry out all the research and development and deployment of the hydrogen technologies. Then the next area where the government is planning is green hydrogen auctions. Now, in order to procure green hydrogen, they will try to create a market where the exchange of or the trade of hydrogen can happen. Then industry collaboration and partnership, like we can include all the researchers, academicians to drive this hydrogen based energy development. Then hydrogen ready policy and framework. What is the way forward? The way forward yes, my voice is fluctuating. I hope it is visible, audible now. Okay, so yeah, it is. So the way forward is capacity building. So we need to develop so that how we can improve green hydrogen. It can be done with a calibrated approach. Like we need to develop the capacity so that we can have more green hydrogen extracted. Now this can be done by increasing the investment in the research and development to form a regulatory and legislative measures, and then also creating a ample demand among the population. This will boost the green hydrogen as a biofuel. Then we need to collaborate different set of industries to involve government and non-governmental actors so that we can create a hydrogen economy in India. And then we need to reduce the cost. Now, how the cost can be reduced? Either improving the technology and the production scale. More hydrogen demonstration projects, innovations can further reduce the cost of hydrogen production in the future. And at last, what we need is a policy framework, a robust policy framework that can guide countries' solar revolution and can lead to an increase in the production. We need to follow a multi-agency mission, considering setting up of the multi-agency to bring multiple ministries, private industries, academia together in a partnership to scale up with the deployment of hydrogen across the sectors and industries. So the next unit that I am starting is forest conservation. Okay, this is the next unit that I will be starting. So why there is a need for forest conservation, guys? Because forest conservation basically involves the practice of planning and maintaining the forested areas for the benefit and sustainability of the future generations. So forest conservation involves the upkeep of natural resources within a forest that is beneficial for both humans and the ecosystem. That is why the forest conservation is important. So how a forest cover is defined in India? So all a land which is more than 1 hectare in area with a tree canopy density of more than 10% irrespective of the ownership and the legal status. So any area which is more than 1 hectare and that has a overall canopy of 10%. Now what is a canopy? Canopy is the spread of the trees. So in 2021, the total forest and tree cover in India was around 80.9 million hectares, which covers 24.62% of the total geographical area. So guys, what are the benefits of the forest conservation in India? The first important benefit is forest restoration is crucial for the climate mitigation strategies. Like we all know, a forest can regulate an ecosystem. It protects the local biodiversity. Then it helps in maintaining the carbon cycle. It supports the livelihood. It maintains the water availability in the area. So for maintaining all these important ecological and environmental roles, forest conservation becomes important. Next reason why forest conservation is needed, because forest gives a habitat to biodiversity as well as humans. So 80% of the world's terrestrial biodiversity, they are dependent on the forest either for their livelihood or for the resources that you get from the forest. Then guys, almost 60 million people, 60 million indigenous people are straight away dependent on the forest. So along with this, forest also gives livelihood opportunities for not only this indigenous people, but there are many industries that are running because of the forest and the raw materials coming from the forest. So it gives jobs to more than 13 million people across the globe, out of which 300 million people live directly in forest, which obviously has 60 million of indigenous people who are dependent on the forest completely. Now, after the oceans, forests are the world's largest storehouse of carbon. So they are the most prominent carbon sinks after the oceans. That is why forest conservation is important. Then, what other benefits that forest conservation will give to you is the population. So, on an average, 350 million people around the world, they are dependent on the forest directly or indirectly. It support more than 1 billion people of rural descent that are dependent on forest for food. Around 252 million people live in forest. They have incomes which is less than even $1.25 a day. That means, now if you compare it with the poverty trend, you can link it that these many people are poor. Their earning is just $1.25 a day. However, they get all the necessary needs for their survival from the forest itself. Then forest helps in maintaining the biodiversity. So the green ground cover provides a habitat for birds, butterflies, insects, especially in the cities where they concrete and asphalt. So it helps to maintain that local ecosystem. It gives livelihood to all the such species in urban areas. Then obviously it gives an aesthetic value as well. The forest gives you the aesthetic values as well. How? What kind of aesthetic values? Like whenever you see a lush green forest, obviously the feeling that generates in your mind is very positive. You feel relaxed. You feel that it will help you to reduce stress. So this is the aesthetic spiritual value of forest. It also gives a necessary rain buffer. That means it helps you to replace the stones with plants. A green area can absorb more rainwater. It can balance the groundwater level. It can also help in flood management. So like why we are witnessing so much of flood situation in the upper reaches of Himalaya? Why a high volume of water is gushing down the slopes? It is because there is no hindrance. There is no blockade there. Then offering healing environment. So the greenery encourages faster recovery because of the aesthetic value attached to it. Then it helps in erosion protection. So if a tree is there, obviously we know that the tree binds the roots, binds the soil. It doesn't allow the water to flow very freely in comparison to a barren land. So it helps you in soil erosion and maintaining the natural fertility of area. Then so forests are also classified as the living filters of the world. Living filters as in for the rivers, streams, so they absorb all the unnecessary sediments. Storing them helps them to transform in excess nutrients and pollutants, and then it becomes an important part of your nitrogen and phosphorus cycles. Then unmatched biodiversity. Obviously the tropical forest roughly covers 10% of the earth land, and it is the home to maximum biodiversity which is available on this planet. However, this forests are being destructed now. The destruction is happening. The prime cause is deforestation. So why deforestation is happening? It is happening because of the uncontrolled vicious cycle of man's greed. Like, the urbanization is expanding. There is so much of need for land, for agriculture, for human settlements. So this land use and rapid exploitation has roughly resulted in the 35% anthropogenic CO2 emissions coming from straight away from the cutting of the forest. Next, pollution. The next cause of deforestation is pollution. So India is also struggling with the quantities of plastic waste generated by the humans, which poses a serious threat to the forest. So the pollution that we are doing in the forest now. Then forest fires. There are there are natural reasons for forest fires as well as the anthropogenic reasons for forest fires. Then invasive species. Now, what are invasive species? These are the species which are not indigenous to that place. So this invasive species straight away hamper the naturally available species of that area. So since globalization is happening, more trade and all these things are increasing. With this rising trade and economy, more invasive species and are also being transported from one place to another. And then yes, climate change. It is another reason for a heavy cause of deforestation. So forest loss is both a cause as well as the effect of changing of the climate. The climate change can damage the forest, for instance, by drying out tropical rainforest, increasing the fire damage in the boreal forest. All these things will result in deforestation. Then human activities such as shifting cultivation, especially if I talk about India, in northeast, shifting cultivation is still dominant. It is one more reason that we are degrading our forest reserves very drastically. Then developmental projects like need to construct a new dam, a hydropower project, a mining project, or some reservoir that has to be made. In all these regions, it will further result in deforestation. Then increasing population. So the rising population, there is more demand for the cities, more demand for settlements, more demand for land for agriculture. All these factors will push more cutting off these forests. And then urbanization. To match the pace of the population, the industries also need to grow. The cities are expanding. So on what cost they will expand? They will expand on the cost of the urban centers. So these are the reasons for the destruction or the deforestation. So guys, consequence of this loss of forest, I will discuss this consequences of the loss of forest in the next class. So right now we are stopping here for the day. But before we end today's session, I first of all request everyone to like and subscribe this session. This session you will get what is the main purpose of this session, guys? It is to supplement your current affairs for the upcoming mains. So if you are writing mains this year or even next year, you can watch these sessions and you can understand some important facts related to current affairs. So this session happens every Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 12:30. On Saturdays, I will be taking this session and I will be covering subjects like environment ecology, international relations, polity. Like I have already done international relations. So if you want to watch those international relation videos, you can check the playlist given in the description box. Okay. This complete month of July, I will be taking different topics from environment and ecology. Okay, this is the third video of this month, and we will continue this environment and ecology complete all over this month. Then, guys, on Sundays, Sanat sir will come and take the sessions. He will be taking areas like science and tech, economy, art and culture, and other miscellaneous areas. So these things will be done by Sanat sir. Okay. So if you are planning to get in touch with Shriram IAS, at Shriram IAS you will get a comprehensive coverage for all your preparation, whether it be mains, prelims, interview, along with this optionals as well. So in one subscription you can get in touch with all these optionals that you are seeing on the screen. Along with this, we also have added geography and anthropology optionals as well. So geography and anthropology optional is also available at Shriram's IAS. So you just need to use this code while taking the subscription. This code will give you a flat 25% off on all your subscription. So use this code Shriram, SRIRAMS, and you can get in touch with the whole team of Shriram IAS under the guidance of Shriram sir himself. So this is it, guys. This is it for today's session. I will see you next week, next Saturday, 10 a.m. sharp. We will continue the forest conservation from